Are you ready to learn what a virtual assistant can do if you are a consultant or even a coach? In this video, I'm going to dive through the different examples that our own clients at 2XU have delegated and given to their assistant to be able to free them up to do more of what it is that they love. A lot of these examples will also come from me as someone who is also an AI consultant on top of running my virtual assistant agency. So I can give you specific examples of how your virtual assistant can do these tasks for you. First one is client scheduling, or essentially calendar management. So if you have incoming clients, your assistant can help manage the scheduling back and forth. You can of course use tools like Calendly or Equity, but when it comes to rescheduling or moving things around, or especially when you have a recurring client now, they can take care of the scheduling and making sure that it doesn't conflict with your life. And whenever things pop up, your assistant can easily move those around depending of course on what it is that you need. As a really good example for this, since I travel a lot, I will sometimes have to move certain meetings with potential clients or even clients we already have, just because the train left off early, or I'm still on my way to the airport and I can't find a place to be able to work and do the call. So whatever that looks like for me as I'm moving through my own life, my assistant can schedule things and communicate directly with these clients or people that I need to reschedule things with. Next is client onboarding, and this is something that people are so surprised that they can actually give, but you can go ahead and delegate onboarding your clients to your virtual assistant. Now, as a really good example for this, again, within 2XU, for the moment that a client says yes, there's a series of things that need to happen. One is a report right after the call, basically summarizing the call. And then there's the job description that needs to be written out as a sample for our client, depending on what was talked about during the call. There's scheduling the onboarding call as well, and making sure that everything before that call is sent to the client. And then afterwards, it is then updating our finance team, like a client just paid. It's then updating our recruitment team, like, hey, this is the sample job description. Let's go ahead and get this started. So my assistant basically works behind the scenes and makes sure that from beginning to the end of when we're actually on the delivery side, we now have an executive assistant for that client, is my EA basically follows through that. Now, we do have an amazing client success manager, but for me, she creates the reporting, she gives me updates on where the client is at on that stage, just so then for me, I don't have to keep bothering our client success manager because of my EA looking out for that. Now, the way that you delegate this is just walk your EA through step by step what is expected at different stages when it comes to onboarding that client. It doesn't have to be too complicated. You can even just have a simple checklist that you can refresh every single time. The Notion page that has each check mark basically on the stage for onboarding this client, so it's easy to track. Next is proposal writing. Now, for me as an AI consultant, I of course grab whatever information that I need from this potential client on the kind of AI assistant that they need, and my assistant goes ahead and puts that all together into a proposal. We use Notion for ourselves again, and then we send through that proposal, of course, to that potential client. So it makes it easier for me to really just focus on showing up and talking with the potential client rather than having to worry later on of creating the proposal, everything else. And most of the time, I don't even check the proposals anymore. They just get sent to the client as they requested. Next is research and data collection. Basically, every single time that I'm about to hop on a call with a client, my assistant goes ahead and researches them, even qualifies them, because there's certain questions in our questionnaire before they get passed through. And she does research like, hey, would this be a potential client, or is this sadly a applicant who slipped through the cracks and actually just went ahead and booked the call not knowing that this is not the right route for them. So she makes sure that before I hop on a call with anyone, that they are a possible client already and not just someone who's trying to explore, or maybe it's just not a match industry-wise as well. For example, for us, it's mostly been coaches and consultants that we worked with in 2XU. So anytime that's kind of outside that scope, she researches and makes sure that a virtual assistant can be of value to that company rather than them hopping on a call with me and not really sure where to start. She also then starts giving me ideas or examples of like, hey, their assistant can work on them on here. Like, I saw their website, it's not really that nice, or I saw their social media, they're not really that active. I think this is where they would need an assistant. So whatever that looks like for you and your company, that's what it looks like for me. And for a lot of our clients, it's the same thing. Of the assistant essentially kind of filters people or researches different companies and even doing maybe some soft lead gen, basically, of contacting and reaching out to those companies depending on what that research entails. Next is marketing support. So for me, if if this is the first time that you're seeing my channel, the last 4 years I have posted twice a week and I've barely missed it for the last 4 years. That means I have a ton of content. That means I have a ton of things that I can use for marketing or talking about my company or what it is that I'm currently nerding out about, whether that's AI or outsourcing or whatever that looks like. So for my assistant, she supports me when it comes to the marketing side by working with our marketing team and making sure that when things are repurposed, when things are turned into a blog post, a graphic post, whatever that looks like, it is aligned with my brand, it's aligned with my voice as well. And she also supports them if they need something from me. Let's say I forgot to give them the thumbnail photo. Let's say that they need this one certain asset from me. I'm able to give that to my assistant so then she can coordinate with the marketing team on it, whatever that looks like. So she supports not just my own branding and my own marketing, but she also supports the marketing, the branding of the other companies. Next is CRM management, or customer relationship management. So what that means is she basically knows who my contacts are, my friends are. We have this database of the people that I've met also in person or virtual, so that anytime that I need a certain resource, or if I need, so for example, for the Scale You podcast, I need to interview this person, she already knows how to contact them, how to reach out to them, and she will even bump me like, hey, this person's birthday is coming up, or like, hey, you've met this person in this event, it's already been 5 years, do you want to send them a little bit something just because you've known them for so long? So depending on what that looks like, she helps me manage my own contacts so I can keep having a relationship with these people whether or not they're a client, and making sure also that I'm on track right before I hop on a call. Let's say I'm catching up with someone on what has happened in their lives, so then I can bring it up basically during that call. Next is document and asset prep. So very similar to creating essentially the proposal, the document and asset prep could be preparing PowerPoint presentations. As I'm on stage a lot, my assistant goes ahead and preps the presentation based on changes that I need. If I don't want to do it by myself, or if I want certain changes even as I'm doing the presentation, she can do that as well, just because of course Google Docs and Canva can update as someone else is editing it at the same time. It could be certain assets as well that your clients might need. It could be certain templates, it could be certain things that you're giving either to your clients or even to your team that the assistant can start prepping and creating for you. Next is of course system creation. So that's a big part of the focus into XU for us, is creating standard operating procedures for a lot of our clients, and that's something that my assistant has done for me. So what I'll do is I will walk her through, I'll film myself like a Zoom call or a share screen walkthrough of how I do a certain task, and my assistant goes ahead and creates the documentation in the system for that. It becomes this beautiful document that I can just go through if I need to act as a checklist as I'm doing this task again, so I don't have to skip any of my own steps when I'm getting something done. So for you and your business, depending on where you're at, creating that documentation, creating templates for your business is going to be an essential part to create that repeatable success, basically repeatable results within your business with your assistant. Next is expense tracking and invoicing. And what that means is, for example, again, for my own assistant, she works with our finance team to create invoices for potential clients. She also makes sure that any expenses that I have done that I have not refunded myself on, or I just need to of course get documented, she works with the finance team on this. Now if you don't have finance team yourself, you have a ton of clients where the EA is doing a little bit of the bookkeeping for the business, and this is definitely something that you can do. So then for you can track if a client already paid, especially if they just paid a deposit or an invoice, so then you know where your standing is at in your services and what you're delivering. Next is, if you are someone who runs webinars or events, is your assistant can manage that for you as well, from maybe coordinating with a marketing team on creating the assets. It could also be calling up venues to be able to set things up. It could be, so for example, last year, for a whole year, I ran a webinar both on how to hire a virtual assistant and how to be a virtual assistant, and my assistant helped me manage both at the same time. So it could be her being in the Zoom room before I am to let people in. It could be her responding to questions in the chat as they go through, or again, updating my presentation depending on like, oh yeah, we should add this or we should edit that. It gives me a sense of support basically as I'm doing it, while I'm doing it, and gives me like, hey, you go ahead and send this person so and so just because they asked in the chat, or hey, I did this event, I met these 10 people, can you know, I'm giving you their business cards, can you go ahead and add them on LinkedIn? Or I'll just basically take a picture of their business card and basically send it to her, and she'll take care of the rest of it. So whatever that looks like for you on supporting you on events or webinars you might be running, your assistant can definitely do that. Now, of course, no virtual assistant can do this right away in your business. You have to slowly start delegating and looking at them. But the point of this video is to give you a picture of what your assistant can do for you when you're a coach or a consultant, to be able to support you through the process within your business. And the goal, honestly, is for you to just show up into these client calls and your assistant goes ahead and takes care of the rest. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below what's the task that you wish you can delegate. I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home. So you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!